Hey everybody, from Rambo. Once again, we're back in the attic. And today, on what I'm now going to call TRX Thursday, we're going to talk about my 450, the histories of the 450s, and the past history of the greatest TRXs and updates on my build itself. Well, today, we're going to start off with, I went on a bit of a spending spree, guys. I'm not going to lie, I went a little overboard. Right here, I got me a crank. Yep, I got a crankshaft. The only issue I can find with this crankshaft, give me a second. So don't know if it'll pick up in the video. It might. But right there in the center of the screen, you can see a little bit of galding and heat discoloration on the connecting rod. Well, I'm not going to lie. I might be able to get away with it. But will I use it? No. Because the thing is, it's already been heat. Already had a heat event. And I don't know. Sorry about that. I don't know how well the bike that crank came out of, how well it was treated and the oil changes and everything. So the plan is, I got to pull, I'll show you in a second, I just had to adjust something. Right there. This bearing, this spacer, and this gear have to come off, because as you can tell, the crank pin itself is actually held in and kind of blocked from getting pressed out by them pieces right there. So the plan is, we're going to get that done, and then one of the next things we're going to do once that's done is I want to find a steering stem. I found some on eBay, and they're good prices. It's just that I think I might buy a steering stem new, even though that's one of the parts I have told myself I would buy used. Now, with the crank, I told myself that's gonna be used, due to the fact, number one, a new crank can run you about $180 to $200 and plus dollars, depending on, is it factory, the crank itself, does it come with a rod, a whole bunch of other factors. And it's just something I don't want to put my hands in. Now, the fact of the matter is, that's not the only piece I got. So, let's pull up the good old trusty Google Pixel 3 XL. Let me type in my password. So, I'm into my phone. So now we go to the best website ever invented, eBay. So, as you can see, let me pull my phone up. Let me turn down the light a little bit to get rid of some of the screen glare. So we went on a bit of a spree. And, okay, so here's one of the pieces. This was actually featured in the earlier video I did this week. I actually bought it, $25. And that should be here in the next day. Heck, it could be tomorrow from the tracking, because it's showing it departed the Raleigh distribution center about 2 hours ago. Now, as I try to handle both my devices, a hot rod's rod. This is left Arizona, I believe it is. Well, coming out of Arizona. $24.99. So, here's what we're going to do real fast. I'm going to do some math. And I'm gonna try to, at least. So here's what I've spent so far. So $24 and a penny. That was for the owner's manual. And I don't know why my phone wants to black it out. But I'll show you the end figure. And the other day I bought some swing arms, which was $80. I bought 2 of them. Plus 75-ish for the crank itself, the cam, plus the rod. No, actually that's $100. So that's actually $90, excuse me. Then I'm going to go back and look at some more stuff I bought from eBay. So, and then we got the inner cases. I forgot to add them. So, inner cases were $100. Then plus $300 for the frame itself. Then looking at about $6 for the key switch, which is another part I have downstairs. $6 plus $38 for some wheel hubs that I got with brake rotors. They came with brake rotors, and if I'm not mistaken, that top A-arm is the same color the brake wheel hubs I have in the back of my truck. I have them in the back of my truck, just haven't taken them out yet. Been too lazy. Then what else did we get? Counterbalancer, which was might as well say $13. So $13 onto the tab. Gasket set, $13.99. Then the oil pump I bought, which was $22. Alright, I'm still going through eBay, guys. I'm gonna have to go back and look at some more of this stuff. Alright, I figured it out. Had to get this off nice and clean. So that's the one thing. $28.46 for my A-arm. So okay, so let's scroll over. That is for the Hayes repair manual. The 2 swing arms, which I got in my truck. That's for the camshaft, crankshaft, and connecting rod. Plus $100 for the frame. $100, the inner cases. $300 for the frame. $6 for the key switch. $38 for... What was $38? Trying to remember here. 38. What did I just spend $38 on? Time to go back to the list. I can't remember what I spent $38 on. There's another piece I bought. The brake calipers, they were $23. I actually paid $325 for the frame. That's my fault. Cylinder jug, $49.95. So $34.99 for the valve cover. $38 for the wheel hubs. That's what it was. $13.99 for some bolts. There's the gasket set. And I believe everything past here is just stuff haven't bought. Well, bought but weren't related. So total so far, I might be missing a few things. I got $814.39. Not bad. So here's my budget. I'm gonna do something real fast. I'm gonna pull up Facebook Marketplace. We're gonna look at the TRX 450R. And I want one in decent shape. Let me just say, whoever's paying that, that's actually a good deal. Because those 250Xs, I own one. New sell for about $4,000. Okay, so as I'm scrolling through, I'm seeing, right here. This is a great example, $4,800. That is in pristine condition. And I'm not looking to have this thing in pristine condition. I want this bike just to drag race. So there's a few things I'm not going to run. And one of the things is I'm not going to run all the plastic. So that's going to save me some money. I'm not going to run a full wiring harness. That's going to save me some money. I might run a different carburetor. The reason being, the factory carburetor, which is a Keenan flat slide carburetor, 40 millimeters, used, is about $200 to $300. What other day I was in my local ATV dirt bike shop, family owned place, local, and I just so happened to stumble across the carburetor section of the ATV book. Well, the parts book they had. And it had a flat slide style Makuni carburetor. $300. And that's for a brand new one. Or the option is Jet Labs. That is an option I am considering. I'm not 100% sure on it just yet. I have to talk to Jet Labs, see what it will be to get in a carburetor. And another thing, shocks. Front shocks? Who needs them? Seriously. I'm not going to be running front shocks due to the fact this is going to be a drag only. You do not need shocks. Some people say you do, some don't. I'm in the camp where, yeah, some drag strips are bumpy, and there's one that I run at a lot. It's got some nasty bumps. But if you know how to control it, it ain't going nowhere. And I do want to make a correction. In the last video, I said that the ER was the man's model. And what I mean by that is, it's the racing man's model. The reason being is the ER, which came out in 2006, and it was the first year of a electric start, and I believe that it was a superior design due to the fact now when you look at most of your bikes coming from your major manufacturers, Honda, no Honda has it, Kawasaki has it, Yamaha, I do not know, Suzuki, I do not know, KTM, I do believe have it, is electric start. And one of the things is that with electric start, you don't have to worry about kicking it. And with electric start, it's just simple. And the motor's running. And the fact of the matter is that one of the big differences between the motor I got and the CRF motor, which is based on this motor. Well, this motor is based on a CRF motor. The CRF motor is a kicked only option back in 2006 to 2007, and I believe 15 or 16 was the first year you could get it with an electric. I'm not 100% sure. But this was basically a CRF with electric start. And one of the downsides of having an electric start is the problems with the starter clutch. I've talked to many of the guys on the TRX 450R owners group I'm a part of, and everybody at least once to twice in their ownership of one of these bikes has a problem with the starter clutch. And what that does basically is the 450s are only designed to turn one way. And this one likes to turn the other way. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's a bit of a flawed design. And what I mean by that is, let me grab my flashlight. One of the problems with the electric start is that the electric starter should go right there. Right in that little hole. And what happens is, when that starter goes through there, it goes to the clutch and spins the motor and starts it up. Well, one of the problems is, after so many starts, or if a starter hangs, it's going to want to burn it. It's going to want to burn that starter clutch up. And it's not going to be a pretty day. And it'll make the most god-awful racket. And it's just a pain in the neck from what I've heard to change. I've yet to talk to any of the guys who will actually experience it for myself. But I shortly will find out. Now, one of the next things besides that is bearing kits. The motor, the guy I bought it from, the inner cases, did tell me it needed bearings. Well, I'm going to get bearings. And it's just a matter of the fact that I still got to get a lot of pieces for this engine. One of the next things I want to try to get my dirty little paws on is either a transmission gear set or cylinder head. But both of them on eBay are ridiculous. I want to try to pull it up right now on my other phone. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to type this in. In fact, I'll say it. 2007 Honda TRX 450 transmission. Alright, so here's what Google pulled up on eBay. You got the bearing kit, which is $89.99. That's, I believe that's Hot Rods. Yeah, it's Hot Rods. You got the oil change kit. Bearing, right here, bingo. The complete gear set, which is what I'm going to need. Now, I could go through, buy all this stuff individually, but it would be more of a nightmare than anything to read through it and put everything back together. Another transmission, you're looking at $389 or best offer. Now, the shifter drum, don't I have, whoops, wrong button. Okay, that actually ain't a bad deal. And that's coming from partsnewandused.com. So I'm going to have to check them out. And what's this one? Main shafts, counter shaft, shifter drums. Powered MX? No partsnewandused.com. So, there's many ways I could approach this. I could just buy the transmission, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. But the problem is, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that the transmissions are interchangeable with the, between the years. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they are, due to the fact they share the same engine casings. Now, let's get off that track for a minute, and let's talk about a little history of the TRX. In 86, I believe it was, it might have been earlier, Honda released the TRX 250R. 2-stroke, liquid-cooled ATV. One of the baddest out there. Now, they've slowly released more, and TRXs after that, they kept producing the 250s. And then, I want to say they started adding more utility quads, like the TRX 400 4x4 Foreman. My favorite model of that bike was 1996. I actually, in my room downstairs, have a model, well, a little diecast version of a 96 Honda Foreman TRX 400 4x4 E, which E means electric start, that is a carbon copy of the one my biological father used to own. And I'd kill to have that quad back. But anyway, back to the point. In the early 2000s, Honda decided to start making a bigger bike. I believe the first one out was the Honda TRX 3. No, might have been the 400. I can't remember exactly. But in 2004, Honda decided to release the TRX 450R. It came out to critical acclaim from every dirt bike magazine and ATV magazine. It had power. It had balls. It would fly. And in fact, Honda took it to Baja. I believe it was in 2005. And with the HRC cam, sprocket changes, and a few other HRC tune-ups, and HRC stands for Honda Racing Club, which are parts you could still buy at your local Honda dealer, and did an average speed at the Baja 1000 of 100 miles an hour on one of these things. In 2006, Honda decided to release the TRX 450ER. And that is what this is. But this is a 07. The only difference between the R and the ER was electric start. And in 06, they did do some minor changes. The bore changed a little bit. The stroke changed some. They also changed the exhaust a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. But one of the biggest changes between the years, besides the electric start, was the addition, well, the removal of the old butterfly style carburetor to the Keenan FCR flat slide carburetor. It jumped from, I believe someone told me the figures in 05 were about 33 horsepower. It jumped from 33 to about 42, 43, 44 horses. Now that's a lot for a motorcycle, well, dirt bike, ATV, anything really. That big, 10 horsepower, you'll feel it. But in something as light as an ATV, you're going to be completely shocked. In 2014, sadly, Honda decided to kill their sport quads. So the TRX 400, the TRX 450 died. And the one I missed is the TRX 700. That is a quad I really don't like to talk about. I just think Honda blew their load trying to beat the Yamaha Raptor 700 and the Raptor 660, and Honda decided, oh, let's put a CBR 700 motor in a TRX 450 frame. I blame that quad for killing Honda's drive to make sport quads. Now, one thing I do believe in 2014, that caused Honda to stop production was Can-Am, Polaris were starting to really, really kill the side-by-side market and had a stranglehold on it. And the Honda engineers and corporate office said, we can't have that. So they decided to take over, and we got stuff like the Honda Big Red utility side-by-side. We got the Honda Talent that just came out recently with a price tag of $19.99. $19,999. That's outrageous. And I was reading an article the other day in a ATV forum. It was from a magazine, saying that with Yamaha being the only sport big bore ATV manufacturer, they practically own the market. Now, Honda does make a sport quad. They actually make two. The TRX-90 and the TRX-250. They're both great machines. I own a TRX-250X. It would just be nice to see Honda grow a set, make a 450 again. With the technology we got now between the CRF going fuel injected and the launch control, the mapping on the fly technology where all they got to do is press a button on the handlebars and the fuel mapping and ignition timing changes. To put one of those motors in a modern frame with modern technology, Honda will be unstoppable. And it's come to the point where it's kind of a running gag at my local ATV shop that I go to all the time, that whenever they see me walk in, they show me that there's a Yamaha 450R and a Raptor 700 out front. I think it's the YFZ 450 or the YZ 450F. I don't know. I do not like Yamahas. And they always try to get me to buy one. I say no. I want a Honda. I have always liked Hondas. They have never failed me. Except for my CRV, but that was a Honda car and a shitty transmission. Yeah, pardon the language. But anyway, to me, the Honda's always had the best products. You can go anywhere in the world and find a Honda dealership. And you can too with other manufacturers, but to me, I've had more luck finding Hondas being more reliable. Yes, I know there's issues with the sport quads with the utility quads with the electric shift. The starter clutches on these things burning out at a stupid rate. But that's not the problem. Honda was pushing the limits of engineering and materials back when these things were being made. With technology today, the materials we got, all the manufacturing methods, these things will be insane. And like I said, 2005, one of these with parts you can still buy from a Honda dealership did an average of 100 miles an hour at Baja, at one of the roughest races you can ever run. It's one of the toughest battles for man and machine. Off-road, that is. Well, I'm tired of being on this rant, and it's getting a little later in the day, and I think it's about time I go back to my room downstairs and do some thinking and do some eBay shopping. Thanks for watching. This is former Rambo. Have a good night, and subscribe, and click that bell button.